my mail next week. So it has to be Thursday. Okay, I have been mentioning that over the last few weeks. So hopefully everyone has a note in their calendar to send me some writing by Thursday. All right, so those of you who answered no, I'm not going to, I would like you to reconsider and to send me some writing by Thursday. All right, I am going to record the start of our workshop tonight, especially because we are focusing on the intro and conclusion, and you may want to go back and watch this over the study break week. Okay, so let's get started. Please take some notes and I will record if you'd like to go back to this. So welcome to everyone here live today, and welcome if you're listening into the recording. It's now week 9, and we've just done a few quick polls of students attending live, and it seems most people said they're about 20% complete with their literature review. That means summary notes are done. Good. 50% complete, we said that would be summary notes done, headings and subheadings started to do some thinking about which readings you can use in which sections. And then a couple of you said you were 80% finished, which means you have some writing and you are nearly ready to send it to me for some feedback. The last day for you to send me some writing for feedback is Thursday. I would like to see writing from everyone after our tutorials on Thursday. Okay, so that is your goal, everyone. So we do still have our tutorials on Thursday to do a little bit more practice, and we will do some writing practice on Thursday. For now, in the workshop today, this morning, wherever you are, this evening where I am, I would like to go over the introduction of your literature review and the conclusion. Okay, the body sections we have been practicing quite a lot, so we're mostly focusing on the introduction and conclusion. A reminder that this is really our last week before your literature review is due. I'm just going to once more share with you our calendar for the semester. Okay, so I'm just here on Blackboard scrolling down. Okay, so we can see we are now in week 9. Okay, next week is the break week. And then when we come back, it's week 10, and your literature review is due on Tuesday in week 10. That means semester break, I am going away, so I will not be reading my email. Okay, so please email me this week by Thursday, and I will happily give you some feedback on any writing you have done already. So that's a reminder about the literature review. It's due on the Tuesday when we return from the break. We do still have our tutorials online on Thursday as usual. All right, it was nice to hear some of you reflecting on your summary notes and maybe thinking you could have been more detailed in your findings. If that's true, you won't be penalized greatly in the grade. The main reason, as we said, for the summary notes was to get you to think about your readings well in advance of this task being due. Okay, I'm sure we are much more familiar with the articles by now. So I think don't stress too much about the summary notes. Focus now on the drafting of your literature review. All right, so let's get started. Welcome to week 9, everyone. We are all about introductions and conclusions. So the introduction of a literature review is quite structured. Okay, and we require these 4 things. So firstly, an opening statement or a general statement about the topic of will. This general or opening statement normally does not have a citation because it is something that everyone can agree on. So it's not something I need a citation for. Okay, so something about will, maybe something about where will is used, or whether or not is popular or common, or maybe why it's used. So something general about your topic in the first sentence of your introduction. Then in the next part of your introduction, some background information about will, and this would have an in-text citation. Okay, so you can include one or two in-text citations in your introduction. Those kind of general statements about will can come from the introduction of the article that we have given you or that you have found. Okay, so you can go to the first sentence or the second sentence of your article, you know, in the introduction or in the background, and what is it saying about will. For example, I'm looking right now at the yellow article, and the very first sentence of the yellow article goes like this: higher education institutions are embedding will. Okay, so something general like that at the start of your articles, that will be really helpful in your introduction, of course, with a citation. Okay, the next sentence you need in the introduction is the aspects of the topic. In other words, what are your headings and what are your subheadings? You need to write them here in the introduction. And you also need to outline how many sources you are using, what kind of sources, and how old they are. Okay, finally, we can end with a thesis on the topic of will, but we don't always see a thesis like this. Okay, but we definitely want an opening statement, a general statement about will, something everyone agrees on. It doesn't need a citation. Then we move on to some background information with in-text citations from the introduction of any of your articles. Then you need to mention your main headings and subheadings and the amount of sources you have used in your literature review, what kind of sources, and how old they are. All right, so here is a sample of an introduction. So we start with an opening or general statement. This does not always need an in-text citation. In this sentence, there is one, but you do not need one. Okay, and then we have some background information about the topic with some in-text citations. Then we move on to the headings and the amount and type of sources. Okay, and again, we kind of mentioned those main headings or subheadings here. So that's what we need in the introduction. It's quite structured. I'm just going to turn off my video and microphone for 1 or 2 minutes, and just using the pen, can everyone go through and underline phrases that will be useful to your introduction? Okay, this one is about a different topic to ours. This is not about will, but still there are some phrases. Great. Keep going, everyone. What are some phrases you see here that you can use in your introduction? Excellent. Keep going. Zebo, I think maybe you couldn't hear me because I stopped talking. Yes, I'm back. Can you hear me now? I hope so. Excellent. So the reason you couldn't hear me, I was just giving you a little bit of thinking time to underline some phrases you could use in your own introduction. Nice new image there, Judith. That's very cool. Okay, so good. We do have some really useful phrases here. I'm just going to grab, oh, cool. I'm going to grab a different pen. This literature review, we can certainly use that phrase. This literature review describes and analyzes, okay? Then you can mention your headings. Something like this sentence, 7 peer-reviewed journal articles dating back to, everyone should have a sentence like that. Okay, of course, we don't want everyone to have exactly the same sentence, so we can practice paraphrasing and we can change the order of the sentence. For example, we could have this literature review relies on or uses 7 peer-reviewed academic sources, the oldest being from 2017. So you can see that we can change the order of that sentence, but everyone should have a sentence something like this. Well done. This review focuses on two main headings and 2 subheadings, and you can mention them there. Well done. Literature points to. That kind of phrase will be very helpful and useful in your own introduction. Okay, so I will delete those, but really in particular, this literature review, please call your literature review a review or a literature review. It's not an essay, it's not a report, it is a literature review or a review. Okay, don't forget we do expect a couple of in-text citations in the background. Yeah, we don't always see a thesis statement in a literature review, Meiji. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. I think it's adequate or sufficient to have your main headings and subheadings. Okay, so you don't really need to have a thesis. We don't always see one. Okay, but we really do want a general sentence, something about will. We will practice writing this at the end. We do want to see some in-text citations about will and why it's used and how it is important, something general again. I then do expect to see your 2 headings and your 2 subheadings. In some ways, your 2 headings and 2 subheadings are your thesis because you have thought about the literature and thought, there's skills for those people and those people, there's differences for those. So in some ways, they are providing the structure and the argument. So we don't really need a separate thesis. And everyone needs a sentence which mentions how many sources. Of course, you are all using 7. And what is the oldest date of those sources? Yeah, Elvino, great question. Yes, you can. You can say this research. This research focuses on or overviews, or this research is divided into. So yes, you can. It is a study and it is research. You can use those phrases or review or literature review. Just don't use report or essay because it's not. Okay, we see as well, this is impersonal language. We don't read any I or my. You know, this review is divided into, or the literature is divided into 2 main headings, blah, blah, and 2 subheadings in it, and 2, so that kind of phrasing rather than I or my. All right, so that is your introduction. Can anyone remember how long your introduction should be? How many words should it be? Oh, that's pretty long there, Judith. Would anyone? Yeah, I think 150 might be enough, okay, because overall your literature review is going to be 1,200 words. We know we have 900 words in the body. So 900 words divided by 4, okay, about 225 that's your paragraphs or sections, 900. That leaves 300 words for the introduction and the conclusion. So about 150 for the introduction, about 150 for the conclusion, although the conclusion might be slightly shorter because there will be no citations. So there are less parts to the conclusion. We will look at that shortly. All right, so that is an introduction of a literature review. Let's have a look at an example of one. And just as we see here some different components, when they're in color here, the next slide, can you try to find those components and just use your pen to mark where they start and stop? Okay, so where are those components in this sample introduction to a literature review? Over to you, everyone. Grab your pens. Okay, nice work there, everyone. Well done. So, you know, we've been doing this a little bit throughout our unit, haven't we? Every time we are about to write an introduction, we have a look at a well-written introduction and analyze it and write down some useful phrases. So I think this is a very well-written introduction for a literature review. Okay, nice. So we have a kind of general lead-in statement, don't we? Well done, that's here. And then we have some kind of background information, and we have quite a few different citations. Actually, our background information is here. That's quite long, really the longest part here. Okay, well done. So this literature review focuses on 2 research questions. You could include the research questions here if you like, but your introduction may get very long if you had those research questions there. But certainly we do want you to mention your headings and subheadings. We can see here again the amount and type of sources, and again we see this literature review is based on. Okay, so this literature review is based on, in the last one I had, this review focuses on this 7 peer-reviewed journal articles were used, I have, and here I have this literature review is based on 7 peer review. So you can see that there are different ways to write about the amount and type of sources. Okay, so maybe there are some slightly different words or phrases you could use here. So, you know, literature, I would expect that to be in your introduction, literature review, the literature. Okay, so your general lead in. Okay, Another phrase commonly used in an introduction of a literature review, something like this, is widely researched, or is the focus of much research. Or you might write, is an area of interest. Okay, so something like that to let the reader know that, I'm unable to move this, why? Not sure. Something to let the reader know that there is a lot of research on the topic, okay, and you've read the research and you've categorized it or put it into different sections or headings and subheadings. And that, I think, reminds me of this phrase here. This is a timely topic. What does it mean if we say this is a timely topic? Timely. Would anyone like to let me know? Do you have a synonym or similar word for timely? A timely topic. What is another word or another way to say a timely topic? Because you could be using that phrase in your introduction. Nice, Samia, well done. Recent. Well done. Is an area of recent research. Is an area of research today. Okay, excellent. Is an area of current research. Fantastic. So that kind of phrasing I would expect to see in your literature review. Excellent. So that should be a reminder. It's funny that we have saved the introduction until now, week 9. We've been speaking a lot about your headings and subheadings and about the body paragraphs. And we can see here why, maybe. The literature review, we need to know what the headings and subheadings are before we can write this. So that's why we have saved it for last. Okay, because hopefully by now you all know what your headings and subheadings are, and therefore you can write your introduction. All right, so something general about the topic, some background information, what are your headings and subheadings, and mention the amount and type of sources included. I would expect everyone to suggest that there are 7 sources, that they're peer-reviewed or academic, and that they, the date that they date back to. Also in your introduction, you could comment, for example, if you think there are studies that you have from all around the world. Okay, so do you have a range of global studies or studies from different disciplines or maybe from different countries? You could mention that in your introduction as well. So you might have this literature review is based on peer-reviewed journal articles from around the world, or globally investigating well, or mostly from the discipline of STEM, for example. So you can make those kind of general comments about all of the 7 articles in the introduction. All right, so that is the introduction of the literature review. This is from the literature review sample, which is on Blackboard. If you go into the literature review folder, there is the sample literature review about gaming. So we have put that introduction onto the slide. So you can go back and read that one. All right, so that's the introduction. Let's move on to the conclusion. The body paragraphs, I think we have worked on a lot, and we will do some more practice in the tutorials, okay? But let's now move to the conclusion. So the conclusion, we said the introduction will be about 150 words. The conclusion as well will be about 150 words, but it might be slightly less than the introduction because there are only 2 parts. So the first part is what were your headings and subheadings? You need to mention them here. Okay, so you'll say this literature review has divided the research into the main headings of and the subheadings of blah, 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 blah. Overall, it was found that, okay, and what were your findings from those sections? Who does will benefit? What have the different stakeholders said about will? How does will do that, bridging the gap between uni and workplaces? Okay, the last part is the future of will research. Um, do you all think that there will be research on will in the future? Will research into this field continue? What do you got? What does everyone think? Yes or no? Do you think in future researchers will be investigating will? Do you think there'll be more academic articles published about this topic? What does everyone think about that? Elvino saying yes. Judith saying yes. Okay, Meiji saying yes. Samir as well. So we have a kind of consensus. Thank you, Zipo and Yuhang. Yes, I think it's highly likely that research will continue into the future because this is an important topic. Universities are doing this more. And there is a desire to improve will so that the benefits are greater or the benefits are felt by all students. Yeah, I agree. I think this research will definitely continue into the future. In your conclusion, you can now state what kind of research should there be. So maybe you think that there should be more research from different countries, or maybe from different faculties, or maybe research should focus on solving the challenges of will. Okay, so what kind of research should happen in future? Okay, so they are the two things in your conclusion. One, you restate your main headings and subheadings. Two, you state that you think that research into will is likely to continue into the future and should focus on because. For example, you might say research in the future should focus on resolving the challenges to do with will so that all students benefit equally. Or you might say, in future, students from different faculties and countries should be the focus of research so that there is information on will from more perspectives. Okay, so in your conclusion, you are thinking about any kind of gap in the research. Maybe if you have found that throughout the studies, there were limitations in sample size for a lot of research. So maybe you want to say in your conclusion that in future research should focus on more objective research design with control groups or with larger sample sizes. Okay, so a little bit of critical thinking is required from you in the conclusion. Let's just have a look at a conclusion now. Okay, so this is the kind of thing you will have at the very end of your literature review. Two main parts. One is, what were your main arguments, your headings and subheadings? Okay, so for example, you might have something like, it is apparent that will contribute to a range of skills, including blah, 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 and different stakeholders see that differently, including this way and this way. Okay, so you are restating your headings and subheadings. And then you are looking at what kind of research should occur in future. All right, so same task as before. I'm going quiet for a minute or two, give you a chance to underline any useful phrases that you think you could use in the conclusion of your literature review. Over to you, everyone. Okay, excellent work here. So there are some very useful phrases to your own conclusion for your literature review. Great. I was thinking of that one too. It is apparent that. Great. Well done. Will is proven to be very important. It is apparent that it contributes to these skills, or it develops these skills, or it develops different skills in different students, including. Okay, excellent. Nice. And then we're going on to how research should continue. Well done. So maybe research needs to continue, or research should focus on. So future research should focus on. So we have a focus here. Okay, great. So important to write down some of those phrases. And overall, we want you to summarize your headings and subheadings. Okay, we get a sense of what should be there from this. It's apparent that Will contributes to many skills in students, including blah and blah. Also, there are some challenges associated with it, mainly near and near. And separate from those, there are differences in the way students benefit, including these and these. So, in future, research is likely to continue into Will, given that it's so important. And that research should focus on what? Should focus on students from different disciplines, from different countries. It should focus on more rigorous or objective research design. So, as I said, some room for your critical thinking in the conclusion. Okay, same job as before. Let's look for those two components in the conclusion. The part where the headings and subheadings are restated, and then the part where they make a suggestion for future research. So just one pen stroke this time. Okay, well done, everyone. So again, just two main areas here. The first part is restating those headings and subheadings in the literature review. Yeah, and I think that this is where they go on to the new research. Okay, as this is a new research area. I'm not sure Will's new research area, but as this is an important field of research, more studies are needed to understand what. Or there should be more research in the area of, or studies should focus on, or research should aim to solve the challenges or mitigate the differences. Okay, so again, as I said, up to you, a little bit of critical thinking needed there. All right, well done, everyone. So that's the introduction and the conclusion. Hopefully you took some notes about the components that are needed and also the kind of phrases that are needed. Honestly, I think the introduction and conclusion, save them for the end. While they are important, it's your body paragraphs that I think will be much harder to write. That's where you are doing all that cognitive or mental gymnastics of linking the sources together and developing your argument. So the intro and conclusion should not be too difficult to write. So yeah, I'm happy for you to save them for the end. All right, let's just briefly return to the middle section, the body of your literature review. We will do some revision about that in the tutorial on Thursday for us online students, for you online students, same time on Thursday, same place. We will go ahead as usual. All right, so this is where we are. We've started with the introduction of about 150 words and conclusion 150 words. Oh, I should reiterate, no in-text citations in the conclusion. Okay, so no citations in the conclusion. They are all in the body sections and one in the intro as well. Okay, you are just summarizing your headings and subheadings, and this is actually your suggestion here for future research. So what kind of research you think there should be, although we are not using language like I think. More studies are needed, or, we can use our kind of modal language like studies should or could focus on blah, 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 blah to better understand. Okay, so that kind of language. So no in-text citations in the conclusion. The intro conclusion about 150 words each. They do also have a heading, okay? Introduction. And then there's a heading as well for the conclusion. It says conclusion. All right, your first main heading. Okay, first main heading. Subheadings. They are your two sections, about 225 words each. 4 in-text citations. Okay, so we have 4 paragraphs, 1 main heading, 2 subheadings, second main heading, and your 2 subheadings. Okay, as you know, your literature review only uses 7 different sources. That means you're going to use each source a few times, maybe in every section or paragraph, or maybe in 3 of them. Okay, so that is the structure of our literature review. We have looked at different examples over the last few weeks, and there are a few there on Blackboard as well. We've been brainstorming those headings and subheadings. We've said that there is no correct way to do this. It is really up to you. Okay, so there's many different ways to title your headings and subheadings. Just make sure that information in each section is different. Okay, so don't repeat information. Don't use the same information twice, because you'll be weakening your argument. Don't forget, the whole goal of the literature review is, of course, it's to link the articles together, but by the end, I expect to see answers to your 3 research questions. I'm just pasting them one more time for good luck in the chat box there. Okay, so if you have your headings and subheadings, then you think, different stakeholders. I didn't mention industry much. Oh, okay. It is, of course, possible to write, if you are writing about benefits for students, you might write about benefits for industry as well. You might say these benefits are not only for students, but they flow on to the industry where students do will and where they may work later. Okay, and so you could say that and say many studies have suggested that. Okay, and in this way you have mentioned the benefits for industry. So we do want you to mention all 3 stakeholders. And we've said that last week as well. If there is not mentioned about benefits for universities, or if mostly it mentions the same benefit, you could write that. In relation to benefits for university as stakeholder, the main one cited in many studies is enhanced reputation, with few other benefits listed. Okay, so you can write that kind of statement in your literature review, and then you have answered those questions. Okay, so hopefully that idea of headings and subheadings is not new at all for you. We have been working on that over the last few weeks. I would like to meet with you all on Thursday in the tutorial, just in small groups. We'll have a little chat about how you are going with your literature review. I'm happy for you all to email me one section of your literature review by Thursday. Okay, so before we started the recording, I asked if you were going to send me a draft, and some people said no. I'm hoping you are changing your mind. I'll ask you again at the end because I'm hoping the answer will be yes. All right, so we have looked at all of those components of the introduction and the conclusion. I would like us right now to do a little bit of brainstorming. Okay. So let's just do a little bit of brainstorming about the first sentence of your literature review, where we have that kind of global or general sentence about will. Okay, so it's a sentence that doesn't need a citation. Let's do a bit of brainstorming together right now about that. Okay, so the first sentence of your whole literature review, your opening statement. So what can you tell me about work integrated learning without having to look at any books or articles, rather? What can you tell me about will? What is it? Tell me something about it. Come on, everyone. We've been discussing will so much. I'm sure you are sick of it by now. Tell me something about will, anything at all. Actually, it's over to you, everyone. It's a brainstorm, the storm from your brains, please. Can everyone please write something about will on this slide? And we will use some of those ideas for the first sentence of your literature review. Come on, everyone. This is going to help you with your introduction. If you could just write anything about will. Great, Kyla. Thank you for helping out. Real world learning. Could everyone else have a go as well? What else can you tell me about will? What do you know about it? Is it used widely? Is it researched a lot? Where is it used? Who are the stakeholders about related to this? Tell me anything about it at all. Great, Kyla. Thank you so much. Kyla, you're on fire. I don't know about everyone else. Great. Nice. It's a tool. Great. Increases employability. Teachers' skills. Often carried out by universities. Fantastic. This is great. Anything else? Thank you to Sinman, Elvino, and Kyla. I have a feeling that your introductions are going to be fantastic. Hopefully you are inspiring everyone else. Is everyone else still here? Levine, Lian Wan Cheng, Meiji, Merlin, Sammy, Anodi, are you all there? Jay, Jackson, hopefully. Okay, so any of those ideas we have there would be fantastic in a first sentence of your introduction. Work integrated learning, you can see here I could have will, and therefore I can use just the letters from then on. So work integrated learning or will, fantastic, nice, thank you Meiji, brilliant. Great, so these are all general ideas, we all agree on them, excellent, nice. And we don't need to look up any of our 7 sources to know this connection. Great, I've got a whole range of fantastic ideas here. So work integrated learning is real world learning carried out by universities as part of a curriculum to teach employability. Great. Will is considered a connection or a tool. Any of those ideas will be fantastic in your first sentence of your literature review. Great, well done. It helps to foster relationships. Nice. We could mention the 3 stakeholders. Nice, Meiji. It can assist industries. Great, well done. Networking. Okay, great. So we're going into like detail there. Maybe we're going to save those for the body sections. But any of these, fantastic. Okay, hopefully you've all taken notes there. Great. Work integrated learning is real-world learning that occurs through a relationship between students, universities, and industry. It's often carried out by universities as part of the curriculum. Great. Anything like that would be a fantastic start to your introduction. Okay, everyone, that was a bit of a helping hand from your peers, wasn't it? But any of those ideas will be fantastic at the start of your introduction. Then let's go to the first sentence of one of your articles and look for some background information. Okay, so I've got from the orange article, Will has become part of undergraduate engineering worldwide. Okay, so this one is about engineering. I can include that. I could have Will has become part of engineering curricula worldwide in text citation and is used in many other disciplines as well. Okay? Or that higher institutions are embedding Will as a strategy to enhance employment. So I'm going from that first general sentence and then I'm going to the introduction of one of my articles. I'm going to grab a general statement, put it into my words, and put an in-text citation there. Great. Then I'm going to have a sentence something like, well, there are many components of Will. This literature review has divided the literature into blah, 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 your main headings or subheadings. Or you could even write, this literature review aims to address 3 questions. Firstly, regarding different stakeholder benefits. Secondly, regarding participation and work readiness. And thirdly, regarding how Will bridges the gap. Okay, so you can mention the 3 research questions there. And then I expect to hear from you about your main headings and subheadings. And I also expect a sentence about the amount and type of sources. Let's practice paraphrasing. Okay, because everyone is going to have a sentence that looks like this, starting here. This one, 7 peer-reviewed journal articles dating back to 2005 were used in this review. Okay, we don't want everyone to have exactly the same sentence, but it could be something like that. Could we have a few paraphrased sentences? Maybe let's start a sentence with this review. Okay, so a sentence will start with this review. A sentence that starts with journal articles. A sentence that starts with 7. The focus. Okay, so a few different ways to start that sentence. Over to you, students. A little bit of paraphrasing. Could you just change this kind of idea about the 7 articles into a sentence starting with this review, sentence starting with journal articles, a sentence starting with 7, and a sentence starting with the focus? Over to you, everyone. If there's no progress, we can pop over to a breakout room, but I think it's going to be pretty easy to smash out 4 sentences. Let's just quickly divide into 4 groups. So Aobo, Ashish, Bowe, Catherine, Alvino, Guang, can you all focus on the first sentence? This review. Hui Yan, Jackson, Jay, Judith, can you focus on the second one? Start to write the second sentence. Kyla, Levine, Li Huangcheng, and Meiji, the third sentence. Merlin, Samia, Noddy, Pinhua, Sinman, the fourth sentence. And The rest of you, I'll give you a job later. Okay, so I've nominated a sentence for you. We want basically the idea here, but just paraphrase. We just want it to be worded differently. So I've given you the start of 4 sentences. Over to you, students. Again, this is helping you for your introduction. That's the kind of sentence that you'll need there about your sources. I'm going to give you a few minutes to come up with some different sentences. Go for it, everyone. Elvino, fantastic. Brilliant sentence there in the chat box. Keep going, everyone. What about some other ways? All we're doing is practicing our paraphrasing, because everyone's going to have a sentence that looks something like this. We just want a few different ways to write it. Great. I'm just going to add, this review is based on 7 peer-reviewed academic articles. Perfect. I think yours probably more likely dating back to 2017 or something like that. Elvino, well done. Little prize for you. What about everyone else? Let's have 3 more sentences. Just starting in different ways, but saying the same thing. Keep going. Come on, everyone. Come on, students, are you still there? Elvino, I think you are one of the only ones awake. Thank you. What about everyone else? We're just trying to word this in a different way. So 4 different ways to start a sentence saying the same thing. Practicing our paraphrasing. So, guys, I'm going to give you a few more minutes. So Aobo, Ashish, Bowe, Catherine Elvino, well done. Guang, you as well. So Huiyang, Jackson, Jay, Judith, you were on the second sentence, I believe. Kyla Levine, yay, you got a bit more progress here. Nice stuff. Great, fantastic, Kyla. Thank you. Okay, you've got another example here. So guys, the point of doing this is to practice paraphrasing. So we can write the same thing in different ways. Fantastic. This review relied on 7 peer-reviewed journal articles dating back to. Brilliant, Kyla. Great, Elvino. Fantastic work, both of you. Excellent. Journal articles dated from 2017 to 2022 were the basis of this literature review. Yeah, okay. Again, you've got seven academic articles that were peer-reviewed and dating from 2017 were the focus. Great, fantastic. Thank you so much, Judith, as well. Another good example there. So you can see here, we all want a sentence that is exactly got the same information, and we can write it in so many different ways. Great. This review relied on, is based on. Okay, so great, well done. The focus of this discussion relied on 2 different interpersonal skills. Great. I just want to add using, and then we could add using 7 articles dating back to 2017. Great. Okay, everyone. Hopefully that was helpful for you all. The point is you all need a sentence like that in your literature review, and there are many different ways to write it. Well done. Any of those will be fantastic. Week9, great. Journal articles of 7, which are dating back to 2005. In your case, I think it's going to be 2017 were used in this review. Fantastic. Great, everyone. So that's the kind of sentence we expect there in your introduction as well. Nice. Let's just, the last thing, so well done. Let's just think a little bit about the gap. Okay, I don't have a slide for this, but as you know, well done there. Just going back to the conclusion, and we said we need to outline a gap in the research. So what should our research focus on now? Okay, so just thinking about the conclusion, let's just grab a whiteboard. Sorry. So last little task, everyone. So stay with us, stay awake. Okay, over to you, students. Come on, last task for today. What kind of research should there be about will in future? Just thinking about the studies that you have, would anyone like to just exercise their brains and critical thinking? What do you think research on will should focus on in future? Think especially about any limitations of the articles. For example, did you see your countries represented in the literature? Did you see your faculty represented? Did you see the research mostly being conducted in one area? Any ideas there? Just thinking about the limitations in particular. Okay, last task. I'm going to give you a few minutes. I would love to hear a few ideas. So thank you, Kyla, Judith, Huiyang, those of you who stepped up just now. What about others? Ashish, Arabo, Bowe, Catherine, what about you? Haven't heard from you yet today. Wang, haven't heard from you. Jackson J, haven't heard from you. Levine, Li Huan Cheng, Merlin, Noddy, Pinhua, Jinyan, Yuklin and Zibo, I haven't heard from you guys. Come on, help me out. What do you think? In the conclusion of your literature review, you're going to state the kind of research there should be in future. So future research on will should focus on what? Any ideas accepted here? I'm going to turn my video off. I'm going to give you a few minutes. Come on, guys. Last task for today. This is going to help you to think about the conclusion of your literature review. Any ideas? Meiji, spot on. Great. Keep going. Come on, a few more ideas there, please. Great, Huiyang. Oh, nice. Everyone's got a bit fired up. Started typing. Excellent. Yeah, fantastic. Great, well done. Nice here, well done. We do know that research has focused on how students can enhance maybe further enhance. So let's have further enhance, because research already focuses on students, how they can enhance, but further enhance. Okay, or maybe we could have how all students, because don't forget we saw some variation between benefits for students. Yeah, brilliant. Nice work here. This is fantastic. Great work. Research on the benefits of will for unis and organizations should be developed more in the future. Fantastic. Great. Not only students. Great work. Euclid, that's brilliant. How employers should be more involved into will design. That's fantastic, because I think employers know from the new graduates the skills they like. Brilliant critical thinking. Hui Yang as well, brilliant as well. It does seem that there is a slight bias in some of the study. A lot of it is from English-speaking countries, isn't it? We have Canada, we have Australia, we have New Zealand. So we don't have a range of literature from non-English speaking countries. So maybe there is a need for that. Well done, Meiji. Larger samples. In education generally does rely on smaller samples. So well done, larger samples, different countries. Brilliant. Nice, well done. Future research on will should focus on improving students' will or work experience. Fantastic, great. So surely all stakeholders want will to be as effective, as beneficial, as useful, and as enjoyable as possible. Okay, fantastic ideas there, everyone. Great critical thinking. Any kind of statement like that would be fantastic in your conclusion. So hopefully, again, you've taken notes and recalled some of that. Hopefully, as you are going through, and we did say the last sentence of your paragraphs or sections of the literature review, sometimes it mentions limitations of the studies you included in that section. You can talk about that in your conclusion. What kind of research should there be in future? Okay, don't forget, our workplaces are constantly changing. Here I am in my workplace right now. I'm working from home, 2 hours from Brisbane. Okay, so workplaces have changed. So it's really logical that will research should continue and should evolve as well. Yeah, what a brilliant comment here. Excellent. Positive impact of will in countries with low levels of education. Great. Or maybe low employment or low employability. So some brilliant ideas here, everyone, and some great critical thinking. So as you are going through and writing or typing your literature review, you should be thinking about that. What are the gaps in the research? If you have mentioned those limitations in the last sentence of each section, this is where you can pick up on them again. I'm very impressed with your critical thinking here, everyone. Really, really well done. It took us a little while to wake up today, didn't it? But we definitely got there. I'd just like to share a poll with you, something similar to the one I started with before I started the recording. It's a yes, no question. Sorry about my slow typing today. All right, yes, no question. Question is, I'm going to send a section of my literature review to Julia by email by Thursday evening to obtain some feedback. Don't forget, it's your last chance this week. Next week is a holiday week. I won't be around. The week after that, your literature review is due. Wang, Huiyan, Jackson J, Ashley Showay, Catherine, what are your thoughts about that poll that's just appeared? Li Huan Cheng, Noddy Pinhua, Sinman and Yinglan, what about you all? Still waiting to hear from some of you. Jay Jackson, Huiyang, Guang, Merlin, Noddy, what about you? Pinhua, England, Ashish Bowe, Catherine, Huyang. So 11 people are having a little nap, it seems, but 12 people are awake. We got one more awake now. Thank you. By the way, what about you, Catherine Huyang, Li Huang Cheng, Merlin? Li, Noddy. Not sure. Well, that is a nice, very honest answer. 10 people are having a bit of a nap, but great. I'm really glad to hear that 13 of you are going to email me with a section of your writing by Thursday. Guys, if you don't send it by Thursday, I will not be able to give you feedback, and I am worried. This assignment is worth quite a lot of your grade. Even if you just send me your headings and subheadings and some writing, I can still give you some feedback. And I would like you all to do as well as possible. If it seems like you are going to be repeating information across sections, I would love to know that already, because I can give you feedback on how to change it or improve it before it's due and before it's too late. Our thought and hope is that you will be working on this in the break week next week. Okay, so you will be finishing up or writing your literature review next week. So it'll be great to get some feedback before you go into your writing week next week. I'm sure you have other assignments to do next week as well. So start your week next week with a strong plan. Maybe even it's structured like Monday, write first main heading and write the first 2 subheadings. We're going to smash out 2 paragraphs. Tuesday morning, smash out the other 2. Wednesday, write the intro and the conclusion. Then you have time for your other tasks as well. So start to plan your week next week. And yeah, get that feedback going into next week. All right, everyone, let's leave it there. Well done today. A reminder that we do still have our tutorials this week online at the usual time. We are not affected by the Thursday holiday. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. We're going to again cover paragraphs or sections of the literature review, what is needed, and we'll do a bit of writing as one whole group, okay? And yeah, I'd like to meet with everyone in some small groups to see where you are at. As usual, if anything is confusing, you're unsure, you're feeling stuck, please email me. This task is worth 30%. I want you all to do well, and I know it's definitely possible. If you can write and think critically like you did tonight, well done. You're going to do well. All right, everyone, I will leave you to enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I'm sure it's breakfast or brunch or lunch time for you all, dinner time for me. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday and to working with you once more on your sections. Can ask any last questions you have on Thursday. Well done today, everyone. Thanks for your contributions. I look forward to seeing you Thursday. Thank you, Ashish. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. See you Thursday, everyone. Bye for now. Thanks, Sibo. Thank you, Kyla. You have a great night too. Thanks so much for your contributions. Thanks, Yuhang, Aobo, Levine. Have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you, Judith Meiji. Thank you, Li Huan Cheng and Jay. Thanks, Alvino, for your thoughts as well. Thank you, Sinman. Bye, Guang. Thank you, and Yuklun. Bye to you all.